Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the 50 Years and Counting collection from China Glaze for holiday 2019. This collection is in collaboration with Sesame Street for their 50th anniversary. In the description box below I will link the China Glaze site, I will link their Instagram page, and I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from this collection. All of these bottles, being in collaboration with Sesame Street, have these super cute decorative caps. They are etched into the caps. It's not something that you can pull off. So we do have a full 12-piece collection full of holiday and glittery things. So let's go ahead and get started. So first we have On the Nice List, and this is a clear base loaded with a bunch of different size red glitters, including circle, hex, and bar glitter. So here's our first coat of On the Nice List, and for all of today's glitters, I'm going to be layering 3 coats of them by themselves and then 1 coat as a topper, and this polish is Let's Be Friends. So this has a really good formula, very smooth, easy to work with, no running or pulling. It does build up well on itself in 3 coats, but I do prefer this one as a topper so I can see all those super cute little bar glitters that are in this. This is going to dry down dull, so you will definitely want a top coat to finish this off, and it also dries with a slight texture, so the top coat will help that as well. And this one is also going to be pretty difficult to remove. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have Cele-bert, and this is another clear glitter base, and it's loaded with these like yellowy chartreuse glitter. Here's our first coat of Cele-bert, and my green is Envy the Adventure from OPI. This one does have another really good formula, not too thick or too thin. These glitters spread out nice and evenly, and it is easy to get them out of the bottle as well. So this one's practically opaque in 2 coats, but I am going to go in for a third. So there's our third coat, and that does cover completely in 3 coats. This one is going to dry textured, so you want a glossy top coat to finish this off, and it's also going to be extremely difficult to remove. I do prefer this one built up on its own. So there is 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have a Grouchy New Year, and this is a clear glitter base, and it does have a bunch of different green glitters as well as these gold holographic glitters. If this doesn't look like a tacky Christmas tree, I don't know what does. Here's our first coat of a Grouchy New Year. So this one also has a good formula, no running or pulling on this one either. The glitter that's in here is definitely more sparse than the other 2 that we've looked at. If you want completely full opacity for this one, you will probably want to sponge this one on. I do prefer this as a topper, but that being said, I didn't find anything that I really liked it over, and kind of settled on red, which this one is, no, I didn't write it down. It's another OPI red. But I settled on this one just for the Christmassy effect, but I do think I like it better as a topper, but I just didn't find anything yet that I love it over. So this one is also going to dry textured. Again, you will want top coat to finish this off to hide that texture. And then this one is also a glitter, so it's definitely going to take some scrubbing to remove, some pure acetone or some peel off base coat. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have Brought to You By, and this one is a shifty one. So in this lighting it looks like this kind of teal color, but in regular indoor lightings it does read more emeraldy green. Here's our first coat of Brought to You By. So this one's a little bit sheer here on this first coat. It is going to build up well though. Formula is good. It's a little bit on the thinner side. I feel like if you did too thick of a coat of this, it would definitely have some issues with balding on the top and pulling down to the sides. So I do suggest working in thinner coats. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you might want to go in for a third coat of this. This does dry decently glossy on its own. You can skip top coat because nothing is going to dry textured. I would recommend it for longevity purposes, but nothing is going to be difficult to remove in this either. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Me8 Santas Cookies, and this is a kind of cerulean blue pearly polish. Here's our first coat of Me8 Santas Cookies. So this one does cover pretty well in this first coat, but it is still streaky, so I am going to go in for a second coat. Good formula. I didn't have any running or pooling or staining. I did have some brush stroking issues. It's kind of the nature of these pearly polishes. And personally, I just don't love them. My nails are very ridgy, as you can see here on my pointer finger. All of them are that way. And it just isn't the most flattering thing in the world on me. But I do like them on other people. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. I also haven't tested this one for stamping, but these are generally good stamping polishes. This one does dry a little dull, so you'll want a glossy top coat to finish it off, but nothing's going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Fa-la-ah-ah-ahh, and this is a grapey purple with a strong gold shimmer. So here's our first coat of Fa-la-ah-ah-ahh. So this one is pretty sheer here on this first coat, but again, it does have a good formula. I didn't have any running, pooling, or staining. This one you could definitely double as a topper if you really wanted to over like the cooler spectrum of things, anywhere from like pinky, magentas, to like purples and blues. I do think you would lose a good bit of that shimmer, so pick your battles there, I suppose. But I think it looks really beautiful built up on 3 coats on its own. It does have a super strong shimmer that way. Formula on this again is good, not too thick, not too thin, no running, pooling, or staining. So there's our third coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. This is going to dry glossy all on its own, and nothing's going to dry textured, so if you absolutely must, you can skip top coat. Nothing's going to be difficult to remove, but it is a little bit of a messy removal. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Giggling All The Way, and this is a kind of leaning pearly pink with a gold flash. Here's our first coat of Giggling All The Way. So this one does cover pretty well here on this first coat. It's not completely opaque, and the color does get a little bit deeper with a second coat, but it is pretty doggone opaque, and the formula is very good, not too thick, not too thin, no running or pooling or staining. The shimmer that's in here stands out nicely, and I also didn't have any kind of brush stroking through that shimmer. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. This one is also going to dry down decently glossy all on its own. Again, I would recommend top coat to help your manicure last a little bit longer, but if you absolutely must skip it, I guess you can. This one is going to dry smooth though, and it won't be difficult to remove. Up next we have Gift For You, and this is a clear base glitter loaded with these magenta colored glitters. Back to our glittery setup. Here's our first coat of Gift For You. Gift For You. Formula is again good, smooth, not too thick, not too thin. A good glitter to base ratio on this. They're easy to get out, they're easy to spread across the nail, and they do lie evenly. So here's our second coat, and that's building up well in 2 coats, but again I am going to go in for a third coat. Being that this is glitter, it's definitely going to dry textured, so you'll definitely want a glossy top coat to finish this off, and it'll help smooth everything out. I do recommend a nice thick glitter eating glossy top coat for glitters like this, for all of the glitters in today's video, and I will link my favorite one in the description box below. So being that this is glitter, it's also going to be extremely difficult to remove. So there's 1 and 3 coats. Up next we have hashtag thisismystreet, and this is a clear base loaded with these holographic, it's kind of like a super light, almost baby pink holographic glitter. Here's our first coat of hashtag thisismystreet. So the glitter that's in here is more sparse. They are all practically these larger glitters, so it does take a little bit more manipulation to get them spread out evenly across the nail, but it's not difficult to do whatsoever. Again, for this one, if you do want full opacity, you might want to sponge it on, but honestly, this is
I think the only glitter in this collection that I love both as a topper and on its own. So there's our third coat, and this is going to dry textured. It is a glitter. You will want a thicker glitter eating glossy top coat to smooth everything out, or 2 coats of top coat just like every other glitter, and it is going to be difficult to remove. So there is 1 and 3 coats.
Up next we have 50 Shimmering Years, and this is a clear base glitter, and it does have a scattering of these holographic glitters, and this is in a kind of rosy pink shade.
Here's our first coat of 50 Shimmering Years, and I'm layering this one over OPI's I always have trouble saying this one, Eidenberger and Tatties. And then my last one, the navy blue, was my favorite gal pal from OPI. I will put in the description box all of the base colors that I used as well. I know I'm terrible at doing that, but I will definitely make sure to do that. So this polish is completely opaque in 3 coats. It has a really good, really smooth formula. I do love the formula on this, and it looks beautiful both as a topper and as a standalone polish, but I think I prefer this one on its own. This is going to dry with a slight bit of texture, more like a sandy finish, so you'll want a top coat to smooth it out, and it will be difficult to remove. So there's 1 and 3 coats.
Up next we have Is For Tinsel, and this is a clear base glitter and in this silvery kind of shade, and some of them are hollow, and it also has a strong blue flash to it.
Here's our first coat of Is For Tinsel, and on my other 2 nails I'm going to go ahead and layer this over Starly's Vanta Black. This has a really good formula. The blue shimmer that's in here, it's apparent on the nail, but it does stand out much better over a darker color, which is the only reason I chose black. And it is completely opaque in 3 coats. Again, this one is going to dry with the texture. You will want a top coat to smooth it out, and it's definitely going to be difficult to remove because of all the glitter that's in there, and the shimmer is also a little bit messy and wants to stick to your skin. So there's 1 and 3 coats.
And lastly for today we have CG since 1969, and this is a like charcoaly kind of blackened base, jelly base, with these charcoal gray glitters.
And here's our first coat of CG since 1969. So this one is more of that like smoky, charcoaly jelly base. So it is pretty sheer here on this first coat, but it does have a good formula. I didn't have any running, pooling, or staining. I do feel like if you went in with thicker coats, you could again have some of that balding on top and pulling down to the sides. I would recommend trying to stick with thinner coats. So this is building up well in 2 coats, but I am going to go in for a 3rd coat, deepen that color, even everything out, and get full opacity. This one is going to dry with a good bit of texture because of all the glitter that's in here, so you will want a top coat to smooth that out. Again, I would recommend a thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat, otherwise you will be doing 2 coats of top coat for this. So this is completely opaque in 3 coats. Being that there's so much glitter in here, it's going to be pretty difficult to remove, so I would recommend either a peel-off base coat, pure acetone, or nail polish clips when removing this polish. So there's 3 coats. So I did have 2 standouts from the collection for me. The first one being 50 Shimmering Years. This is so beautiful, built up on its own. It's such a holiday color for me. It's like not your typical red, green, gold, blue color scheme, but it's really glittery, it's really kind of flashy and out there. So I think this is a super beautiful polish, and I feel like it's also really versatile for being a year-round polish. And then the other one being hashtag thisismystreet. It's much for the same reason that is. It feels holiday without being like a quintessential holiday color. So I really, really like this one, particularly as a topper, but it would also be really beautiful sponged on as like an accent nail. So hashtag thisismystreet and 50 Shimmering Years are the standouts in this collection for me. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this collection. Let me know if you plan on picking it up. Let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.